You crack through the egg, your tiny mandibles instinctively working as you push forward. Others around you are doing the same, forcing their way out. You don't think, you don't question, you just move. You are inside a cell, a single piece of a massive pattern, surrounded by more just like it. Some are still sealed, holding others who have yet to emerge. Others sit empty, their occupants already hatched, already feeding, already growing. The ones that hatched before you have started eating. Their bodies grow stronger with every bite. You have no time to fall behind. A worker arrives, stopping just long enough to drop food into your open mouth before moving on. You don't hesitate. You swallow. The food is soft, already chewed down into a paste, making it easy to consume. A moment later, another worker does the same, and you take in as much as you can before she moves on. If you don't, someone else will. So you eat. That is your only task. The food keeps coming, delivered by workers who never stop. You keep swallowing, your body using everything to grow. Days pass and you feel your skin tighten. Then it gets worse. The pressure builds until something gives, and suddenly your body splits open. Congratulations, you just molted. You climb out of your old skin, slightly bigger, slightly stronger, and immediately go back to eating like nothing happened. Some of the others don't make it. Maybe they were too slow. Maybe they weren't taking this whole constant eating thing seriously. Either way, their cells are cleaned out before you even notice they're missing. No time for grief, no time for questions. You eat or you die. Then one day, everything shifts. The workers stop bringing food, and you stop feeling hungry. A new instinct kicks in, one that tells you to start spinning. Silk threads wrap around your body, sealing you inside. For the first time, you do nothing. Inside your body starts making upgrades. Legs stretch out, muscles form, wings press against your back, and a whole new layer of armor hardens around you. You don't know what's coming next, but whatever it is, you're being prepped for it, whether you like it or not. Then the casing splits. You push forward, legs locked into place, wings unfolding. Your body is fully formed, ready. This time you're not just another helpless mouth waiting to be fed. You have a stinger now. You are a worker wasp, and it's time to get to work. No one tells you what to do. You already know. Your first task is to feed the larva. The workers before you did the same, and now it's your turn. You fly out, scanning below, when you notice something moving. A caterpillar, thick and slow, crawling along a leaf. You land behind it, grip it tight, and sting. Venom floods its body. It twitches, then stops. You tear into its soft skin, break it down, and take a piece back to the nest. You drop the food into an open cell. A larva stretches forward, pulling it in. You don't stop to watch. You just move on. After that, more workers arrive with more food, allowing the larva to keep growing. Then you move to the nest walls. The structure must expand. So you scrape your mandibles against a wooden fence, chewing the fibers into pulp. It mixes with your saliva, forming a soft paste. Back at the nest, you spread it over the edges, pressing it into place. After a while, it hardens, adding to the structure. Then you fly out again to bring back more food, more wood. The larvae need to grow. The nest must hold. At some point, you hear the air hum with movement. You join the other wasps, following the scent of sugar. Below you is a field of flowers that stretches in every direction. You fly lower, land on one of the flowers, and press your mouth parts into it. The nectar is sweet. You drink. Then a shadow moves beside you. A bee. It lands carefully, legs dipping into the pollen. It hesitates, assessing the situation, but you don't wait. You turn toward it, mandibles slightly open. A warning. The bee flinches, but doesn't leave. It needs the nectar too. You step closer, shove it with your front legs. Not hard, just enough to make it stumble to the side. The bee buzzes its wings, trying to stand its ground. It's twice as heavy as you, built for collecting pollen. But you're built for something else. You have speed. You have venom. You have nothing to lose. You slam into it again, harder this time. The bee panics, gripping the petal, trying to hold its place. But you don't let it. You fly forward, mandibles snapping at its legs. It lunges backward, finally breaking away from the flower. But you don't give up. You chase it into the air. It tries to fly away. You follow. It dives low toward another flower, trying to reclaim what it lost. And in that moment, you slam into it midair. The bee spirals, trying to fight back, but it won't. It can't afford to sting. One sting means death. You know this. You use it. The bee finally flies away, retreating. You hover for a second, watching, satisfied with yourself. Then you turn back and land on the flower. You drink. The nectar is yours now. Sometime later, a worker flies past you. Her scent is strong, familiar. You know, the air is thick with sweetness. Up ahead, wasps cling to the rim of a human drink. They bury their head inside, drinking as fast as they can. The sugar is thick. More workers arrive, drawn by the scent. A human approaches. They stop when they notice the swarm. They hesitate. They reach for the cup. You lift off with the others, warning them, but the human doesn't stop. Their hands move closer, trying to take their drink. You fly forward, mandibles open. You collide with their skin, driving your stinger into it. Others do the same. The human flinches, screaming in pain and fear. They try to shake you off, but it's too late. You sting again and again and again. The human stumbles back, waving their hand, trying to escape the relentless attack. Then finally, they drop the drink. The cup crashes to the ground, syrup spilling across the pavement. The wasps land around the puddle, drinking. The human grips their stung skin, eyes wide with fear as they retreat. But you don't care. You press your mouthparts into the sticky surface, drinking the sweet remains. The sugar was never theirs to take. It was always yours. And yet, even after the cold has taken the nest and the queen is gone, life goes on. Not for her, not for the workers who gave everything to keep the colony alive, but for her daughters, hidden underground. They're waiting, asleep in the frozen earth, completely unaware of the cruel cycle they've inherited. When spring finally arrives, the warmth will coax them back into the world, and without hesitation they'll begin the same exhausting, thankless work that their mother did. There's no choice. A wasp doesn't question its purpose. It simply obeys instincts that don't care whether its life is fair. As the ground thaws, one of these new queens crawls to the surface, her body stiff from months of cold. She shivers her wings, testing them against the cool, morning air. And when she lifts off for the first time, she's not thinking about survival. She's thinking about building. She has nothing. No nest, no workers, no food. Just an undeniable drive to start again. So she searches. For hours she flies, landing on tree trunks and fence posts, chewing wood fibers and mixing them with her saliva until she has a small wad of pulp. Then she picks a quiet corner under a roof overhang, inside a shed, and begins the impossible task of creating a nest from nothing. It starts small, just a few cells, each one carefully crafted, then sealed. She lays an egg in each cell, knowing that if even one hatches, it could mean the difference between success and failure. But this is where life gets truly cruel for her. While she waits for the eggs to hatch, she must do everything herself. She hunts, bringing back bits of caterpillars to feed the larvae once they emerge. She expands the nest, one tiny fiber at a time, even though her body wasn't built for this kind of labor. A queen was meant to lay eggs, not scrape wood and kill prey, but here she is, working herself to the edge of exhaustion. And there's no guarantee that her efforts will pay off. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes a bird finds her tiny nest and tears it apart before her first workers are even born. Sometimes she's killed while hunting, her fragile body crushed by a larger insect or caught in a spider's web. If she dies now, the nest dies with her. No one will come to take her place. There's no backup plan, no second chance. It's survival of the luckiest. But let's say she makes it. Let's say her first workers hatch. They're small, weak, and desperate to eat. The queen feeds them herself, sacrificing her own strength until they are big enough to take over the hunting and nest building. And finally, for the first time, she rests. But it's not the kind of rest that brings peace. It's just a pause before the next endless stretch of egg-laying, a duty that will consume her until the day she dies. The colony grows, more eggs, more workers, more mouths to feed. The nest expands rapidly, and with it, the queen's importance starts to fade in the eyes of her workers. In the beginning, they worship her, feeding her, grooming her, protecting her. But as their numbers swell, something changes. They stop seeing her as their mother. She becomes a machine, a thing that lays eggs and nothing more. And this is where the darkness of wasp life really reveals itself. The queen, the heart of the colony, becomes invisible. She is cared for, but not loved. She lays eggs because she must, not because anyone wants her to. The workers that surround her every day are her daughters, but there's no tenderness between them. They're cold, efficient, and replaceable. She gave them life, and in return, they gave her nothing but food and silence. As summer peaks, the colony hits its stride, thousands of wasps flying out every day to hunt, feed the larvae, and expand the nest. The workers are fierce, fast, and single-minded. They will fight and die for the colony, without a second thought. But this loyalty doesn't extend to the queen herself. She is no longer special. She is simply another part of the machine. Then, late in the season, the queen's body starts to fail her. She's older now, her exoskeleton not as strong, her pheromones weaker. The workers sense this before she does. The shift is subtle at first. Fewer workers feeding her, fewer lingering near her cell, but then it becomes undeniable. Some of the older workers start laying their own eggs. An unthinkable betrayal. These eggs won't hatch into workers. They'll hatch into males, driven by a singular instinct to mate and die. And the queen, once the center of everything, can do nothing to stop it. Her control over the colony is slipping away and no one cares. She keeps laying eggs because it's all she knows. But her daughters are already preparing for a future that doesn't include her. As the days shorten and the air cools, the colony's priorities shift. The workers focus on raising new queens, not supporting the dying nest. They'll feed these future queens until they are fat and strong. And then, when the time is right, the new queens will leave. They'll mate with the desperate males who have been waiting for this moment, then disappear underground before the cold can kill them. The old queen, the one who started it all, watches as her daughters abandon her. There is no farewell, no gratitude. She doesn't understand why they're leaving. She doesn't understand that her time is over. So she stays in the nest, surrounded by dying workers and empty cells, waiting for food that will never come. And when the cold finally reaches her, she does what any wasp does. She dies, quietly and alone. The nest collapses around her, rain and frost reducing it to nothing. By the time winter fully sets in, there's no sign that the colony ever existed there at all. But underground, in the frozen soil, her daughters sleep. They don't dream, they don't remember her, and they never will. When spring comes, they'll dig their way out, stretch their wings, and start building, driven by the same relentless instinct that destroyed their mother. Life as a wasp doesn't just suck, it's a tragedy that repeats itself endlessly. And the worst part? No one notices. No one mourns, and maybe deep down, the wasps know this. Maybe that's why they sting. Not out of anger or malice, but because the only way to remind the world they exist is to hurt it. But even that won't last, because after a few short weeks of survival, of hunting and fighting and stinging, the wasps will die, and the world will move on, never thinking about the tiny, forgotten creatures who lived, struggled, and died, just trying to keep their pointless, brutal cycle going for one more year. If you think a wasp's life is tough, wait until you hear about the life of a mantis.